Hi everybody, my name is Caden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Jason.
And we are the Yahoo and the Torah YouTube channel. And this is Enoch. We are going over this crazy book here. We are trying to understand, we are trying to figure out what Enoch is all about. And it's honestly kind of confusing, but we're getting through it. We're going over some of the things. We're now, I think, third of the way through. I think we're almost there. We're on chapter 76 of 108.
So that's a little more than a third, son. That'd be 3/4 almost. All right, yeah, so we're almost there. Thank you guys very, very much for joining us.
160 or so.
All right, thank you very much, son. Thank you guys very much for being with us and for participating in this. Now, it's been a couple of days, and the thing about a human memory is sometimes we don't remember things. Do you guys remember what it was that we last read? As Cade turns his page. Okay.
We were talking about the sun and the moon when it rises, when it sets.
They ride
We
the
went-
chariot.
How many
went through the
days we
gate.
have.
Okay, so we went over the sun and the gates and how it ran on its own chariot, how the angels ran them day by day, how they went into the gates, how different times were, how there was more time in the morning and then night, and then as they get to the final gate, it went in reverse. There's more time at night than in the day.
Yeah, so we had, what do we have, 6 gates? We had
Six
different
gates
gates on each side.
So total
and,
12.
And they were starting off at like gate 3 or something,
No,
right?
fourth.
Fourth gate? Nicole remembers. Yeah, so it went out the 4th gate, and then it would go in the 4th gate, and then it'd do that for 30 days. Then it would go into like the 5th gate, right? And then it would go out of the 5th gate. 30 days or 31 days?
31.
31. And so basically the gate system is what determines our daylight hours. That is how we know how long the sun goes. And for anybody that hasn't tuned in to any of our stuff, I will apologize for my ceiling and for my roof right here. We will all try to talk into the microphone and talk over this, but literally we just can't do this in the right time because it seems like it just goes from sun up to sundown and my roof talks. And so maybe one day we will end up with tiles or something where we can actually have like a real house. But for right now, we literally live kind of almost outside. And so that's what you're hearing. You're hearing the outside elements inside. So let's begin, gentlemen, and let's see where we are at. And I do not need a handy-dandy anything, so I'm going to do the handy-dandy Sefer. Now, I am reading out of the Sefer. We are in Enoch 76. Cade is reading a little different today. What are you reading out of?
The lost books of the Bible, the great rejected text.
By Joseph B. Lumpkin.
Joseph B. Lumpkin. Nicole?
I'm reading Hallelujah Scriptures.
And I'm reading off the WordPress site.
All right, some guy's WordPress site. Little guy, you're going to have to speak a little louder. The roof is kind of probably overtaking a lot of this. I do have a loud, booming voice, so I will lower myself if you guys will amplify yourself, and hopefully we'll get through this. All right, Enoch 76. And the extremities of the earth I beheld, 12 gates open for all the winds, from which they proceed and blow over the earth. 3 of them are open in the front of heaven, 3 in the west, 3 on the right side of heaven, and 3 on the left. The first 3 are those which are towards the east, 3 are towards the north, 3 are those which are upon the left towards the south, and 3 on the west. From 4 of them proceeds winds of blessing and of health, and from 8 proceed winds of punishment when they are sent to destroy the earth and the heaven above it, and all its inhabitants, and all which are in the waters or on dry land. Your guys is all the same?
Except for where yours says winds of blessing and health, mine says winds of blessing and peace.
Okay.
So I want to read mine a little bit.
All right, let's do it.
Through 4 of these comes winds of Baruka and prosperity, and from the 8th come hurtful winds when they are sent. They bring destruction on all the earth and the water upon it, and on all who dwell upon it, and all the which are in the water and on the land.
Okay, so they're basically, I mean, what would you guys call punishing winds?
Hurricanes, I would assume, right?
Tsunamis. Well, I mean, those are kind of winds, I guess. I guess those are kind of their specialty kind of winds. But yeah, we have massive wind here. That's one of the things here. We have 2 seasons. Actually, we have, well, it's really 2 seasons. It's wet and dry, but during dry season, it's windy. Like, it will blow your house over. It will literally, we've seen just stuff just get crazy. So any more wind would probably be a destructing wind. Like, it could totally blow our house over. No problem. All right, so we're on 4 here.
I'm on 5, but I don't know where you're at.
Okay,
Should be on 5.
4. I think we're on 4. Okay, pay
Yeah,
attention,
he's
buddy.
different than ours.
All right. The first of these winds proceed from the gate termed the eastern, through the first gate on the east, which inclines southward. From this gate goes forth destruction, drought, heat, and perdition. All right. So the first of these winds proceeds from the gate termed the eastern. So we have an east, basically like the sun. It comes up in the east, right? and it's going to blow where?
Towards the south.
Yeah, it inclines
towards the south.
southwards, which would kind of seem like the wind. Most of the time, the wind seems to blow in one direction, I think. I don't know. All right. From the second gate, the middle one precedes equity. There issue from it rain, fruitfulness, health, and dew. And from the third gate northwards proceed cold and drought. After these proceed the south winds through the three principal gates. Through their first gate, which inclines eastward, proceeds a hot wind. Okay, anyone have anything different?
No, that's the same.
Okay, but from the middle gate proceed grateful odor, dew, rain, health, and life.
This is fragrant smells.
Okay, grateful odor, those are fragrant smells. I think you'd be happy. At least it wouldn't be like a pig farm or something.
Yeah, because it always smells really like refreshing when it rains.
It does. It does. All right, from the third gate, which is westwards, proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction.
Where yours says blight, mine says locust.
Locusts?
Yeah.
Proceed dew, rain, locusts?
And desolation.
Wow. Okay. I guess the locusts are part of Yah's blight or something. All right. After these are the winds to the north, which is called the sea, from three gates. The seventh gate is on the east, inclining southward. From this proceeds dew, rain, blight, and destruction. Your guys say locust again?
Yep.
All right. From the middle direct gate proceed rain, dew, life, and health. Anyone have anything different?
No.
Wow. Life and health. That is interesting.
It says prosperity, but that's
Prosperity.
the same as health.
And from the third gate, which is westwards, inclining towards the south, proceed mist, frost, snow, rain, dew, and blight.
Mine just says cloud and frost. It doesn't say mist.
It says cloud and frost.
Mine says dew and rain, hoarfrost and cold, and snow and frost.
Okay. All right. 10. After these four are the winds to the west. From the first gate, inclining northwards, proceed dew, rain, frost, cold, snow, and chill. From the middle gate proceed rain, health, and blessing.
Mine said ice.
Mine
Ice.
says frost.
Yours says frost instead of what?
Instead of the last one, chill.
Chills. Okay, but does yours say frost above? Because mine says northwards proceed dew, rain, frost, cold, snow, and chill.
Mine doesn't include rain.
No rain?
No, mine says dew, frost, and cold, and snow and ice.
Eli, you got rain coming out of yours?
I don't even see anything that has anything to do with north in mine.
12.
Well,
Yeah,
okay, it has rain, hoarfrost, cold, snow, and frost.
All right, make sure you aim that little tiny mouth hole right there to that speaker so we can hear this. Thanks, Eli. All right. So that's back to 11. And from the last gate, which is southwards, proceed drought, destruction, scorching, and perdition. The account of the 12 gates of the 4 quarters of heaven is ended. All their laws, all their punishment, and the health of them have I explained to you, my son, Methuselah. Okay, so this is interesting. This is actually not Enoch that we're reading. I mean, this is somebody that explained it to Methuselah. Who would that be?
Said my son Methuselah, so Methuselah's dad.
Methuselah is his dad, isn't it?
Methuselah's son is Enoch, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that? Am I off?
Yeah, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah.
Methuselah, Molech. We're looking here.
Yeah, Enoch's son is Methuselah.
Enoch's son is Methuselah.
it's still
okay.
Enoch.
Okay, this
So
is
he
Enoch.
was
Okay.
explaining it to his son.
Yeah, okay. I get it. Hope you guys do too. I didn't. All right, 77. The first wind is called the eastern because it is the first. The second is called the south because El Elyon there descends, and frequently there descends and is blessed forever. Okay, you have that, Nicole?
Yeah, it says in the first quarter is called the east because it is the first, and the second the south because the Most High will descend there, even there, in quite a special sense. He will he who is Baruch forever descend.
Okay, Eli, you got the same?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, do you anything change on yours?
No.
Okay. The western wind has the name of diminution because there all the luminaries of heaven are demonized and descend.
Wait,
Diminish.
Diminished.
Mine
I
says Wayne.
Wayne, yeah.
diminished. I
Okay,
guess I don't
here.
have English. I don't know what English
And the
is.
west quarter is named Diminish because there all the luminaries of heaven wane and go down.
Mine says, and the eastern quarter is called waning because there all the lights of heaven wane and go down.
East or west?
West.
Okay, you
I
said
said
east.
east.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oops.
Okay, I guess you can't read. I can't speak English. One of them. Here we are. All right, diminished and descend. Okay, the fourth. The fourth wind, which is named the north, is divided into three parts. One of which is for the habitation of man, another for seas of water with valleys, woods, rivers, shady places, and snow, and the third part, paradise. 7 high mountains. Okay, Nicole, what do you have?
Mine has nothing about snow. And the fourth quarter, named the north, is divided into three parts. The first of them is for the dwelling of men. The second contains seas of water, and the abyss and the forest, and the rivers and darkness and clouds. And the third part contains the garden of righteousness.
Okay, Eli, did yours say snow? Does anyone else say
No.
snow?
Mine does not say snow.
All right, Dr. Pigeon is really messing this up.
Mine says mist instead of cloud in yours.
So we have 4 different translations and 4 different readings of it. All right, so I guess we make what we can make out of it. All right, 7 high mountains I beheld, higher than all the mountains of the earth, from which frost proceeds, while days, seasons, and years depart and pass away. 7 rivers I beheld upon earth, greater than all rivers, one of which takes its course from the west into a great sea, its water flows. Okay? 2 come from the north to the sea, their waters flowing into the Erythraean Sea on the east, and with respect to the remaining 4, they take their course in the cavity of the north. 2 to their sea, the Erythraean Sea, and 2 are poured into a great sea, where also it is said it is a desert. Where it is said is a desert. Okay, 7 great islands I saw in the sea and on the earth, 7 in the great sea. All right, anyone have anything different?
No, mine just says Eastern Sea.
Eastern Sea?
The Eastern Sea and the Great Sea.
Well, all I can say is a good thing this isn't Torah, because we'd be totally confused.
Yeah.
Okay. 78. The names of the sun are these. One, Arias, the other, Tomas. All right, so why does it have the names of the sun are these? Why are there 2 names?
I don't know.
So, Arias, is that what you guys have? Aryares?
Mine's Oryares.
Mine's ORJ, so Orgerus.
Orgerus, and the other, Tomas?
Thomas.
Mine's Toma.
Mine's Thomas. Tomases.
I guess, Eli, it could be like you, Cookie, and having multiple names, right, Elk?
Right.
Okay. I guess. Thanks, Eli. All right. Yeah, the moon has 4 names. The first is Asonia, the second is Elba, the third Benes, and the fourth Ere.
And I know why she has 4 different ones.
Why?
Because of her phases that she goes through.
Like multiple personality disorder.
Hey, we're not alone. Okay. These are the 2 great luminaries whose orbs are as orbs of heaven, and the dimensions of both are equal. All right, these are the 2. So basically, it says the sun and the moon, and I think we've read this before, are the exact same size.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, which that is, if either NASA's lying or Yah's scriptures are lying, so I would have to go the NASA people. All right, 4. In the orb of the sun are 7 parts of light, which are added to it more than to the moon. By measure it is put in until the 7th portion of the sun is departed. They enter into the western gate, circuit by the north, and through the eastern gate go forth over the face of heaven.
Let me read this one.
All right.
And they go down and enter the portals of the west, and make their revolution by the north, and come forth through the eastern portals on the face of the Shamayim.
Okay. So I think this is saying the same thing that we said before. It comes out of the east, it goes over to the west, and somehow it
Comes around in
circuits.
the north.
When it circuits, I don't think it's like on. Like it's either off or...
But I'm thinking maybe for the other part of the side of the world, it's on for them.
maybe.
Because it's coming back. That's how we have
Maybe.
the different times of day, is because it's circling back over to get to the other portal.
So it just goes in the gate for like 5 minutes, then goes back out the gate or something? Maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, when the moon rises, it appears in heaven, and the half of a 7th portion of light is all in it. In 14, the whole of its light is completed. So this is, if you want to adjust this to what we know of in reality, we know that is true, right? Nicole?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to read mine because mine makes a little more sense.
Okay.
And when the moon rises, 1/14 part of it appears in the Shamayim. The light becomes full in her. On the 14th day, she accomplishes her light. So on the 14th day is when we have full moons. That's what that's saying.
Right. And then, as you said the other day, because I don't study the moons at all, but basically goes from 14, and then it goes 13, 12, 11, all the way down to 1, where it goes full moon to back to stage 1.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So there's 14 parts of it.
Back to full moon, and then what they call no moon, but they call it the new moon on the regular calendar, but that's not our new moon. The next day is the new moon for us.
The new moon is the sliver.
It's a sliver, and it
Right.
explains that too in the next coming chapters.
All right. In 14, the whole of its light is completed. 3 quintuples light is put into it. Okay, what do you got?
And 15 parts of the light are transferred to her till the 15th day.
Wow, a quintuple must be 5. So I didn't know what that words because we have first, what is it?
Single, double, triple, quadruple.
Quadruple. Quintuple, yeah.
I knew that one.
And I'm not going to say the next one because it sounds bad, I think.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 quintuples light is put into it. Until 15, its light is completed. According to the signs of the year, it has 3 quintuples. Okay, so that's basically saying 3 sets of 5,
And
right?
she becomes 15 parts.
So how does that work if you're on 14 days, right? The new moon, the very first day is a sliver, right? Mm-hmm. And so the second day would be a 1/7
So basically
bigger.
there's 2 nights.
1/14.
There's 2 nights of it being full.
Okay.
The 14th and the 15th
Okay.
are completely full moons because it's just barely diminishing on that 15th day. So it's still the full moon.
All right, and I'm about to slaughter this word again. How come I can't get this word? Diminution?
Diminishings.
Diminution. This is different. It's diminution. All right, during this diminution, what does yours say, Nicole?
Diminishing.
Diminishing. I'll just use that word. During this diminution, I don't know. On the first day, its light decreases a 14th part. On the second day, it increases a 13th part. On the third day, a 12th part. On the fourth day, an 11th part. On the fifth day, a 10th part. On the sixth day, a 9th part. On the seventh day, it decreases an 8th part. On the 8th day, it decreases a 7th part. On the 9th day, it decreases a 6th part. On the 10th day, it decreases a 15th part.
Mine says 5.
I was just kidding. I was seeing if anyone's listening. This is the same stuff. No, a 5th part. And on the 11th day, it decreases a 4th part. On the 12th day, it decreases a 3rd part. On the 13th day, it decreases a 2nd part. On the 14th day, it decreases a half of its 7th part. Okay, so there's that 14th day. It decreases a half, only a half. All these other ones, it decreases different. So there's the day 14. And on its 7th part, and on the 15th day, the whole remainder of its light is consumed. Okay.
Yeah, so it's completely gone.
Yeah, there's no moon. You can't see anything. It's there, but it's not there.
But that's what they call the new moon on the whatever calendar they are.
That's not- yeah, that's not even a moon
Yah's
now.
calendar. No.
Okay. On stated months, the moon has 29 days. It also has a period of 28 days. All right, what does that mean?
So some months have it goes in 28 days. Some days it's on 29 days.
Okay.
Mostly it's 29 days, but then there's also a couple that are 28 days.
Mine says in once 28 days.
Yeah,
And once?
and once. So yeah, so only once a year it's 28 days.
Huh. Okay. I wonder if that is that extra day or whatever it is that they were talking about that one time where there was extra days or something of the sort. Okay. Uriel likewise showed me another regulation. When light is poured into the moon, how it is poured into it from the sun. All the time that the moon is in progress with its light, it is poured in the presence of the sun until light is in 14 days completed in heaven. And when it is wholly extinguished, its light is consumed in heaven, and on the first day it is called the new moon. For on that day light is received into it. So yeah, this is a killer for lunar keepers.
Okay, so I'm gonna start back on mine's 11. During all the period during which the moon is growing in her light, she is transferring it to herself when opposite to the sun. During 14 days, her light is accomplished in the Shamayim, and when she is illuminated throughout, her light is accomplished full in the Shamayim. And on the first day, she is called the new moon. For that day, the light rises upon her. So that's our new moon when it's the little crescent.
So what this reminds me of is it reminds me of when you guys were kids and you guys used to have stars on your ceiling, right? Mm-hmm. You could hold the light onto that. So if you would hold the light only to like an edge of that and you would have turned the light off, you would have had just that edge of that little glow in the dark thing going. And so every day it sucks in more light somehow.
So I want to just make one comment. We had one person on the comments before tell us that the full moon was the new moon, and they even referenced Enoch. So I think that they misread that and thinking that the 14th day was the new moon. But it actually tells you in verse 12 on mine that the first day is when the light rises upon her, when it's just beginning to rise upon her. That's when the new moon is, not the full moon.
Hey.
Sorry, we have a dog stuck.
All right, sorry folks, we just had a dog incident, and that's how fast it goes, and so I guess we're not going to edit this out, but that is a dog getting stuck in a chair when he was trying to get up, and the entire pack about killed him, so yeah, we had to jump into action, so sorry about that. Now, is everyone still good?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, where are we at?
Talking about the new moon and the full moon.
All right, and you were on a thought, right? You were saying something
I
before
was saying that one guy had said that
right.
the new moon or the full moon was the new month.
Yeah,
and that's when his new month started. We're on the 14th on the full moon, which that is not what this says.
Yeah, and so let's reread that here real quick. And it says, and when it is wholly extinguished, its light is consumed in the heaven, and on the first day it is called the new moon. For on that day light is received into it. I think it's vital that we understand that part right there. That's very important here. Maybe I'll even highlight this thing because that's very important. All right, 15. It becomes precisely completed on the day that the sun descends into the west, while the moon ascends at night from the east. Okay, so this is a little bit different though, because it said the moon rises with the sun. What does this say here? It becomes precisely completed on the day that the sun descends into the west, while the moon ascends at night from the east. So I don't know what that's saying.
So mine says she becomes full moon exactly on the day when the sun goes down in the west, and from the east she rises at night, and the moon shines the whole night through till the sun rises over against her, and the moon is seen over against the sun.
That's not, I think, when we can see the sun during the day. I think this is what that
Yeah,
is.
we can see the sun during the day, but I mean, it doesn't. The other book, the other scriptures here in Enoch, it says that the moon rises with the sun. So I don't know what to make of that exactly. You guys remember that? Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know. Let's see. The moon then shines all the night until the sun rises before it, when the moon disappears in turn before the sun. Where light comes to the moon, there again it decreases, until all its light is extinguished and the days of the moon pass away. Then its orb remains solitary without light. During 3 months it affects in 30 days its period. And during 3 months it affects it in 29 days each, in which it affects its decrease in its first period, and in the first gate in 177 days.
It says 177?
177.
Mine says 127.
177 or 27. That's
Mine says 177.
77.
Wow, the guy at the WordPress site must have got this one wrong.
So that to me, I think it's the seasons.
Okay, is that what we're saying here?
I don't know. That's the way that I just took that, was it's seasons, because it's for 3 months. So your seasons are usually...
Yeah, so 3 months it says it has 30 days in the period. Mm-hmm. And during 3 months it affects is in 29 days each, in which it affects its decrease in the first period. All right, maybe that's seasons. I don't know.
That was just my thought.
All right, and at the time of its going forth during 3 months, it appears 30 days each, and during 3 months it appears 29 days each. Okay. In the night it appears for 20 as a man, and in the day as heaven, for it is nothing else except its light. All right, what in the world does it say?
Mine says, by night for 20 days each time it looks like a man, and by day like heaven, for there is nothing else in it except its light.
All right, well, I hate to say that we probably didn't land on the moon. I mean, I think everyone's figured that out by now. But it says right here that there's nothing there except a light. I have this highlighted for some reason. I must have looked this up many moons ago or something.
Mine says at night she appears like a man for 20 days each time. And by day she appears like the Shamayim, and there is none else in her save her light.
So you can see it during the day, but at night you can't see it? I mean, is that what it's saying?
I don't know.
What do you mean it appears like a man?
I don't know, because when it appears as in heaven or something, you can't see heaven. We can't see heaven, but we can see men. Is my only thought. I don't know. All right.
Maybe.
Maybe what?
I was thinking like how it's a sliver. Sorry, like when it's the no moon, but that's only for a night. It's not for 9 days. Because it
Yeah.
says 20 days each time. So I don't know.
I'm sure we could research this and figure this out a little more, possibly. Okay, let's go on. 79. And now, my son Methuselah, I have shown you everything, and every ordinance of the stars of heaven is finished. He showed me every ordinance respecting these, which is at all times and in all seasons under every influence, in all years, at the arrival and under the rule of each, during every month and every week, also the decrease of the moon, which is affected in the sixth gate, for in that sixth gate is its light consumed. Oh, okay. Well, that's how you lose moonlight when it hits in the sixth gate. It says the light's consumed. Anyone else have anything different?
No.
Okay. Eli, why don't you get up here?
Mine
real
says
close
her
and sit.
light is accomplished.
Okay. From this is the beginning of the month, and its decrease is effected in the sixth gate in its period until 177 days are completed, according to the mode of calculation by weeks, 25 and 2 days. It is less than that of the sun, according to the ordinance of the stars, by 5 days in one time precisely. When that visible situation is completed, such is the appearance and likeness of every luminary, which Uriel, the great angel who conducts them, showed to me. All right, anyone have anything different than that?
Just that the last thing it says, such is the picture and sketch of every luminary which Uriel the archangel, who is their leader, showed unto me.
Every sketch of every what?
Every picture and every sketch to every luminary.
Huh. Okay, is that what yours says? All right, I don't know. Let's continue on. 80. In those days Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have showed you all things, O Enoch. All things have I revealed to you. You see the sun, the moon, and those which conduct the stars of heaven, which cause all their operations, seasons, and arrivals to return. In the days of sinners, the years shall be shortened. Their seed shall be backward in their prolific soil, and everything done on earth shall be subverted and disappear in its season. The rain shall be restrained, and heaven shall stand still. In those days the fruits of the earth shall be late, and not flourish in their season, and in their season the fruits of the trees shall be withheld. Okay, so this just tells us about end time. This is like an end time prophecy thing right here, right? Mm-hmm. It just says at the end times that, I don't know about you, but it seems to me there's a man-made famine on this earth that is happening right now. But there is also, Yah is having his hand in this as well. And so they are completely orchestrating a famine. But I do know there are droughts all over the world, and the rivers are drying up everywhere. And so it looks like we are here, my friends.
Can I read this real quick?
Please do.
And in the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened, and their seed shall be late, and their lands and fields, and all the earth shall alter, and shall not appear in their time, and the rain shall be kept back, and the Shamayim shall withhold. So the days shortened. Didn't they say like we lost like milliseconds or something on the? I know.
That's sheep
I know.
food. That is completely sheep
But
food.
I'm just thinking the days are being shortened.
Yeah, we're not spinning around anything.
I know we're not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't trust anything that they're saying, but I don't know what about it means days shortened. I mean, if the days are going to be shortened, it would have to be Yah hands doing it, right?
Right.
He would send stuff through other gates. Like if you went from gate 4 and you immediately went into like gate 1 or something, or gate 6 or something else than what you're going to, time would completely be shortened or change or go longer, and we would have zero control over that. And so, all right, let's see. So the the fruits of the earth shall be late. We're here right now. Okay, 6. The moon shall change its laws and not be seen at its proper period. But in those days shall heaven be seen, and barrenness shall take place in the borders of the great chariots in the west. It shall shine more than the orders of light, while many chiefs among the stars of authority shall err, perverting their ways and works. All right, this is deep. This is getting real deep, folks. So the moon shall change its laws. That is bad news. That's a bad thing. I mean, if it's changing its laws, we may lose the moon in the future or something.
Mine says, and the moon shall alter her order and not appear at her time.
Well, that's bad news.
And in those days the sun shall be seen, and he shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west, and shall shine more brightly than accordance with the order of light.
So this is Yah flipping gates, right?
Yeah,
This
so
is
it's like reversed.
Yeah, so like when times are up or something of the sort, or if he wants a super drought, then he'll have Thomas, the sun, shine less. Yeah, shine less or something.
Or shine at night.
Or shine at night and have real short
And the
days.
moon during the day.
That'd be weird. Wow. All right. Those shall not appear in their season, who command them. Hold on. Did I get the last one? Yeah, it is. Okay, sorry. 7 again. Those shall not appear in their season, who commanded them, and all the classes of the stars shall be shut up against sinners. The thoughts of those who dwell on the earth shall transgress within them, and they shall be perverted in all their ways. And again, I think we're here. They shall transgress and think themselves Elohim, while evil shall be multiplied among them. We're here, folks. I don't know what else to say. This is definitely pointing to the days we're in. And punishment shall come upon them, so that all of them shall be destroyed.
So mine says like way different than yours.
All right, let's read it.
And many chiefs of the stars shall transgress the order, and these shall alter their orbits and tasks, and not appear at their seasons prescribed to them. And the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners, and the thoughts of those on earth shall err concerning them, and they shall be altered from all their ways. Also they shall go astray, and take them to be mighty ones. And evil shall be multiplied upon them, and punishment shall come upon them, so all is destroyed.
So people are worshiping the stars, or something of the sort. Now, this is an end time sign. When we see these things coming, when we see the sun disappear and the moon riding differently and the stars and all of this is the will of Yah. This is not man-made. So they're going to spin something like NASA's going to come out and say, the Earth's spinning faster, and so we have more light now. That must be it. Okay.
Less light.
Yeah, the less light now because we're spinning faster. You must believe it. Okay, so here we go. All right, let's go to chapter 81. He said, O Enoch, look on the sefer of the tablets of heaven, which have gradually dropped down, and reading that which is written in it, understand every part of it. Then I looked on all which was written, and understood all, reading the sefer and everything written on it, all the works of man. And all the children of flesh upon the earth during the generations of the world, immediately after I blessed Yahuwah, the King of glory, who has thus forever formed the whole workmanship of the world. And I glorified Yahuwah on account of his long suffering and blessing towards the children of the world. At that time I said, Blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good, against whom no catalog of crime has been written, and with whom iniquity is not found. Okay, so there's something, if you guys want a blessing, right? If you guys want your own blessing, Enoch blessed you. But you can only partake of this blessing if you're righteous and good, right? Blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good, against whom no catalog of crime has been written. How do you catalog crime, Cade? How would you decipher what crime is?
Well, it'd be their sins. It would be that their sins be written down.
Well, how would you decipher? How would you know?
Transgressions of the Torah.
Yeah, transgressions of the Torah, exactly. That is how we know what crime is. Are you transgressing the Torah? Are you in the Torah or not? Okay.
I'm on 5, but I don't know where you're at.
I think I'm on 7. Then those 3 holy ones caused me to approach and placed me on the earth before the door of my house. And they said unto me, Explain everything to Methuselah, your son, and inform all your children that no flesh shall be justified before Yahuwah, for he is their creator.
Mine says, in those 7 Kadeshim brought me.
So this one has 3.
Mine says 3.
Mine says 7.
7. Wow, somebody has this wrong. Okay, so and who would the 7 Kadeshim be? We know probably the angels: Uriel,
Raphael, Michael,
Peniel. I think there's only 4 of those ones.
I think there were a total of 8.
Was there? Okay.
All right. So that sounds really bad right there, right? It's inform all your children that no flesh shall be justified before Yahuwah. How do we explain this? How do we as followers of Yah, how do we justify us to our Creator?
We don't.
We will justify ourselves by our actions, right? Actions speak louder than words. You can either say, hey, I believed all you said, but you walked a lie, or you can be walking the truth, and you won't die, doing evil stuff. All right, verse 9. During 1 year we shall leave you with your children, until you shall again recover your strength, that you may instruct your family. Write these things and explain them to all your children. But in another year they shall take you from the midst of them, and your heart shall be strengthened, for the elect shall point out righteousness to the elect. The righteousness with the righteous shall rejoice, congratulating each other, but the sinners with sinners shall die. All right. whatever day that is, it sounds like a good day for the righteous and probably a bad day for the sinners. Anyone have anything different?
Not really.
All right. 10. And the perverted with the perverted shall be drowned. Those likewise who act righteously shall die on account of the works of man, and shall be gathered together on account of the works of the wicked. In those days they finished conversing with me, and I returned to my fellow men, blessing Yahuwah of worlds.
Mine doesn't say that they shall drown.
What's your say?
Mine just says, and backsliders go down with backsliders.
Mine says, but the sinner will die with the sinner, and the apostate will sing with the apostate.
Yeah, we're going to show out the apostate.
Okay, so apostate, what's it, kid?
It says, but the sinner shall die with the sinners, and the apostate shall go down with the apostate.
Okay.
But yours said drowning.
Yeah, I guess Stephen Pigeon thought they'd drown. So going down, I mean, probably drown. Let's throw some drowning in there. All right. 82. Now, my son Methuselah, all these things I speak unto you, and write for you. To you I have revealed all, and have given you Sephirim of everything. Preserve, my son Methuselah, the Sephirim written by your father, that you may reveal them to future generations. Now, Enoch was Enoch. What was the lineage again?
Enoch, Methuselah, Noah.
Okay.
No, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah.
Lamech, Noah, right. All right. And wisdom have I given you to your children and your posterity, that they may reveal to their children for generations forever this wisdom in their thoughts, and that those who comprehend may not slumber, but hear with their ears, that they may learn this wisdom and be deemed worthy of eating wholesome food. Okay, is yours guys say wholesome food?
And it
No.
shall please those that eat thereof better than good food.
It'll be better for those who eat from it than good food.
It's interesting, worthy food. Way back in the day, they actually had worthy food. Like they knew about like bad food. I mean, we live in a generation right now where you can't eat a bag of M&Ms because you'll have red 4, red 40, yellow 5. You basically get dumber with every piece of M&M that you eat. Literally, the science behind that is that you literally become stupid by eating all of these bad colored dyes in all of this food. All right, here we go. Blessed are all the righteous. Blessed are all who walk in righteousness, in whom is no crime, as in sinners, when all their days are numbered. With respect to the progress of the sun in heaven, it enters and goes out of gate for 30 days, with the leaders of the 1,000 classes of stars, with 4 which are added and appertain to the 4 quarters of the year, which conduct them and accompany them at 4 periods. All right, what are we saying here?
So we're saying that the son leaves heaven and enters into his doors. He leaves for 30 days and then comes back in his thing for 30 days.
So it says there's leaders of the thousands of classes. So I wonder how many people, what angel, how many stars does the angels lead? You know, how much would there be? I mean, there's a lot of stars up there.
Mine says heads of thousands of the order of the stars.
Heads of thousands. Yeah, the stars, there's definitely thousands of those suckers. All right. Respecting these, men greatly err, and do not calculate them in the calculation of every age, for they greatly err respecting them. Nor do men know accurately that they are in the calculation of the year. But indeed, these are marked down forever. One in the first gate, one in the third, one in the fourth, and one in the sixth. Anyone have anything different?
Not really, but it says, for they belong to the reckoning of the year and are truly recorded forever. One in the first portal, one in the third portal, one in the fourth, and one in the sixth. And the year is completed in 364 days.
All right, so 364 days. I don't have a lot of explanation for this. It's not like the Torah stuff where you can actually get down with it and try to explain this. This is a little deeper than that. All right, truly has been stated and accurately has been calculated that which is marked down for the luminaries, the months, the fixed periods, the years, and the days. Uriel has explained to me and communicated to me, whom Yahuwah of all creation on my account commanded according to the might of heaven and the power which it possesses both by day and by night, to explain light to man of the sun, moon, and stars, and of all the powers of heaven, which are turned with their respective orbs.
So mine says, and an account thereof is accurate, and recorded reckoning thereof exact for the lights and the months and the festivals.
Festivals, right, that would be right.
And the years and the days.
Right.
But yours didn't say.
No, it didn't say anything about festivals.
Mine says feasts.
Feasts. All right, where's yours say festivals at?
Up at when it's talking about the account thereof, an accurate and a record reckoning, therefore exact.
Right before Uriel.
Yeah, so it's only
The
says
fixed periods.
Yep, for luminaries, the months, the fixed periods, the years, and the days. This is crazy translations. All right, this is the ordinance of the stars, which set in their places, in their seasons, in their periods, in their days, and in their months. These are the names of those who conduct them, who watch and enter in their seasons according to their ordinance, in their periods, in their months, in their influence, and in their stations. Eli, what'd you have? I thought you were like motioning.
I do.
What do you got?
And these are the orders of the stars, which they go down in their places, and in the appointed times, and festivals, and months. And these are the names of those who lead them, who watch that they enter at their times, in their orders, in their seasons, in their months, and in their periods of dominion, and in their positions.
My guess is if they don't make it to their right time, then they end up in a prison, star prison, right? So these are leading. They obviously have a option of obeying or not obeying. So very interesting. These leaders of 1,000 are in the midst of their conductors, and the conductors are added each behind his station, and their conductors make the separation. These are the names of the conductors who separate the 4 quarters of the year, who are appointed Melech, okay, Melial, and Nariel.
Okay,
What do you guys
so
have?
we have an issue.
What you got?
Because yours skipped 2 verses
Did it?
online.
Okay, what do you got then?
There are 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year enter first, and after them the 12 leaders of the orders who divide the months, and for the 360 there are heads over thousands who divide the days, and for the 4 intercalary days there are leaders which divide the 4 parts of the year. And these are the heads over thousands are intercaled between leader and leader, which behind the station, but their leaders make the division. And these are the names of the leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year, which are ordained: Michael, Amalek, and Meliakel, and Nirel.
So the only thing different from yours and mine is where yours says 360. Mine says 364 days.
Okay, so it gets even weirder because I know there's no J's in Hebrew, so I'm not sure where these next names come up at. And the names of those who conduct them are Adnar-el, Jeshuel, and Jalalium.
Mine has it with a Y and then an E.
Yeah, Stephen Pigeon, you know there's no J's in
Mine
Hebrew.
starts with an I.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what Doc Pigeon's got going on here. Some issues. Okay, so I don't know who these are, but basically this is the band. If you're looking at a band, right, you're looking at the conductors, and you're looking. These are 2 sets of leaders, two different sets of leaders that are doing 2 separate things. Interesting. These are the 3 who follow after the conductors of the classes, each following after the 3 conductors of the classes, which themselves follow after those conductors of the stations, who divide the 4 quarters of the year. In the first part of the year rises and rules Melchias, whose name is Tamani, and Zihai, the southern sun.
Wow, mine does not say
And this
that.
is in parentheses, so this is Doc Pigeon telling us it's the southern sun, so I don't know what that is.
In the beginning of the year, Miliakel, I don't know if that's right or not, raises his first and rules, who is named Tamani, and Shishmi, and all the days of his dominion, while list he bears rule, are 91 days.
Mine says, in the beginning of the year, Melchiel rises first and rules, who is called the southern sun, and all the days of his period during which he rules are 91.
All right, I guess this is in the first days. They name him something different. I think this is talking about the sun again, but this is pretty confusing. All right, 17 on mine. All the days of his influence, which he rules, are 91 days, and these are the signs of the days which are seen upon the earth. In the days of his influence, perspiration, heat, and trouble. All the trees become fruitful. The leaf of every tree comes forth. The grain is reaped. The rose and every species of flowers blossoms in the field, and the trees of winter are dried up.
So this is seasons.
Yeah, this is season. So they named a season like season 1 or whatever one season is. This one that is what, summer?
So
Maybe
this would be spring.
Spring. All
Because
right.
that's when our year begins. In the beginning is in the springtime when the barley's ready to go and everything.
It says the grain is reaped, though. I mean, that would seem like it was the end of summer, unless it's like winter wheat. I guess it could be, and because it could be in the spring, I suppose.
But it says, and the trees bear fruit, and the leaves are produced, and all the trees, and the harvest of wheat.
So that's got to be the end of summer. Because we don't have trees.
No.
You won't have an apple tree until the end of summer. You won't have.
Well, that's apples.
Well, I mean, what about everything else? Nothing
The
is in
apples
this.
are in fall.
Yeah, but nothing. What fruit tree is in the winter?
None.
None. Right.
But what about in the spring?
What fruit trees do you have in the spring?
I think they're blueberries.
Oranges? No, blueberries isn't a tree. It's a bush.
It still grows like a tree.
It's a bush.
It
It's
grows
a
like
shrub.
tree.
All right, here we are. 19. These are the names of the conductors who are under them. Barkel, Zelzabal.
Wait a minute. You gotta go back.
Did I miss something?
But it says, but the trees of the winter season become withered. So we are in spring.
Hold on. All right, hold on. I guess we have a wife check here. All right, all the trees become fruitful. Okay, the leaf of every tree comes forth. The grain is reaped.
The harvest of the wheat.
The rose and every species of flower blossoms in the field.
But
And the trees of winter are dried up.
season become withered. So it's not. So we just
What about the
passed
tree?
winter.
What do you mean? How is this even possible? The grain, possibly. I can see that because there is winter grain. What about roses? Do you have roses in the spring?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So maybe your bushes are right. Maybe you're right with the bushes. I don't
Okay.
know. All right. Here we go. 19. These are the names of the conductors who are under them. Barkel, Zelzabel, and another additional conductor of 1,000 is named Helioyelef. The days of those influence have been completed. The other conductor next after them is Helamelech,
Mine's like a C.
Kelamelech,
Kilmelech.
whose name they call the splendid Zihai.
Mine's the shining sun.
The
Yeah.
names of the shining sun.
Okay. All the days of his light are 91 days. I think Thomas has a bunch of different when he's angrier. Like when Thomas is hot and angrier, he's called another name.
He's bipolar too.
Yeah, he's an
Hey.
angry son.
This
Multiple
one's summer.
personalities.
All right, this one's summer. Okay. These are the signs of the days upon earth: heat and drought, while the trees bring forth their fruits, warmed and concocted, and give their fruits to dry. The flocks fellow, mate and bear young. All the fruits of the earth are collected, with everything in the fields, and the vines are trodden. This takes place during the time of his influence. These are their names and orders, and the conductors who are under them. Of those who are chiefs of 1,000, Gediel, Kiel, Hiel. And the name of the additional leader of 1,000 is Asaphael. The days of his influence have been completed. All right, anyone have anything else?
No.
All right, this is extremely confusing. All right. And now I have shown you, my son Methuselah, every sight which I saw prior to your birth.
Mine says dreams, by the way. This is beginning
every sight?
dreams. No, this whole thing that we're
Oh.
reading now is
The
dreams.
section is called Dreams.
Yes.
Okay. I will relate another vision, which I saw before I was married. They resemble each other. The first was when I was learning a sefer, and the other before I was married to your mother. I saw a potent vision. And on one account of these things, besought Yahuwah. I was lying down in the house of my grandfather, Malelo. I saw in a vision heaven thrown down and removed. And when it fell upon the earth, I saw likewise the earth absorbed by a great abyss and mountains suspended over mountains. Hills were sinking upon hills. Lofty trees were gliding off of their trunks and were in the act of being projected and of sinking into the abyss. And at these things, the word fell down in my mouth. I cried out and said, "The earth is destroyed." Then my grandfather Malelo raised me up and said to me, "Why do you thus cry out, my son, and wherefore thus do you lament?" I related to him the whole vision which I had seen. He said to me, "Confirmed is that which you have seen, my son, and potent the vision of your dream respecting every secret sin of the earth. Its substance shall sink into the abyss, and a great destruction take place." All right, now where did we hear about this before that we didn't make any sense? You guys don't remember? Anyone?
No.
Anyone with me? Eli, you still awake?
Yep.
Come back to me, son.
I'm here.
Okay. No, remember when it said the mountains would skip like goats? And the mountains, the hills, and everything, it would be just like completely whacked, and we were
When
just,
Yeshua was raining on
Yeah.
the mountains and all the mountains went
so
away.
it seems like at some point the earth is going to be destroyed. It doesn't sound good at all. Now, my son, rise up and beseech Yahuwah of glory, for you are faithful, that a remnant may be left upon earth, and that he would not wholly destroy it. My son, all this calamity upon earth comes down from heaven. Upon earth shall there be a great destruction. We just add the sound effects just for
Calamity
excellence.
on my roof.
Yes, calamity on a roof. Then I arose, prayed, and entreated, and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world, explaining everything to my son Methuselah. When I went down below, and looking up to heaven, beheld the sun proceeding from the east, the moon descending to the west, a few stars, and everything which Elohim has known from the beginning, I blessed Yahuwah of judgment and magnified him, because he has sent forth the sun from the windows of the east, that ascending and rising in the face of the heaven, it might spring up and pursue the path which has been pointed out to it. Anything else different?
No.
All right, let's continue on. We're making good progress. I told you to eat before this, kid. You should have eaten before we got into this. We're running for the hills now. All right. I lifted up my hands in righteousness and blessed the Holy and the Great One. I spoke with the breath of my mouth and with a tongue of flesh, which Elohim has formed for all the sons of mortal men, that with it they may speak, giving them breath, a mouth, and a tongue to converse with. Blessed are you, O Yahuwah, the King, great and powerful in your greatness. Yahuwah of all the creatures of heaven, King of kings, Elohim of the whole world, whose reign, whose kingdom, and whose majesty endure forever and ever. From generation to generation shall your dominion exist. All the heavens are your throne forever, and all the foot your footstool forever and ever. Now, who said that? Who said that? Who's repeating this?
Isn't it David?
Yeah, this is what David says. My enemies will be a footstool. The earth. It talks about the earth being a footstool. And again, it doesn't make any sense with the whole lies of round earth spinning around. It's just garbage. All right. For you have made them, and over all you reign. No act whatsoever exceeds your power. With your wisdom is unchangeable. Nor from your throne and from your presence is it ever averted. You know all things, see and hear them. Nor is anything concealed from you, for you perceive all things. The angels of your heavens have transgressed, and on mortal flesh shall your wrath remain until the day of the great judgment. Now then, O Elohim, Yahuwah, and mighty King, I entreat you and beseech you to grant my prayer, that a posterity may be left to me on earth, and that all mankind may not perish, that the earth may not be left destitute, and destruction take place forever. O Adonai, let the race perish from off the earth which has offended you, but a righteous and upright race established for the plant of a seed forever. Hide not your face, O Yahuwah, from the prayer of your servant. Anything different?
Nope.
All right, now we're getting easy reading.
That's the end of mine.
That's the end of yours? Well, it's getting even easier. We still got a ways on this one.
Just read this one.
Okay, after this I saw another dream, and explained it to all of you, my son. Enoch arose and said to his son Methuselah, To you, my son, will I speak. Hear my word and incline your ear to the visionary dream of your father. Before I married your mother, Edna, I saw a vision on my bed. And behold, a cow sprung forth from the earth, and this cow was white. Afterwards a female heifer sprung forth, and with it another heifer. The one was black, and one was red. The black heifer then struck the red one, and pursued it over all the earth. From that period I could see nothing more of the red heifer, but the black one increased in bulk, and a female heifer came with him. After this I saw that many cows proceeded forth, resembling him, and following after him. The first female, young one, also went in the presence of the first cow and sought the red heifer, but found him not. And she lamented with a great lamentation while she was seeking him. Then I looked until the first cow came to her, from which time she became silent and ceased to lament. Afterwards she calved another white cow, and again calved many cows and black heifers. In my sleep also I perceived a white bull, which in like manner grew and became a large white bull. After him many white cows came forth, resembling him, and they began to calve many white cows, which resembled them, and followed them in order. All right, he's seen a farm. He's seen our farm.
He's now a rancher.
Yeah, he's a rancher. All right.
So mine says that the black bull gored the red one at the very beginning of that story.
I wonder if this has anything to do with the red heifer of Numbers. Anything about it? I don't know. Again, we're in 86. Again, I looked attentively while sleeping and surveyed heaven above. And behold, a single star fell from heaven, which being raised up, ate and fed among those cows. After that I perceived other large and black cows, and behold, all of them changed their stalls and pastures, while their young began to lament one with another. Again I looked in my vision and surveyed heaven, when behold, I saw many stars which descended, and projected themselves from heaven to where was the first star. Into the midst of those young ones, while the cows were with them, feeding in the midst of them. I looked at and observed them, when behold, they all acted after the manner of horses, and began to approach the young cows, all of whom became pregnant, and brought forth elephants, camels, and donkeys. All right, what do you guys have? Is that
So mine up here a little bit says, And again I saw the vision, and looked towards the Shamayim, and see, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from the Shamayim to the first star, and they became bulls amongst those cattle, and pastured with them amongst them.
Okay. That's
So,
it?
but yours didn't say that they became bulls.
No, I didn't say that.
And I looked at them and saw and see that they let out the members like the horses and began to cover the cows of the oxen. And they all became pregnant and brought forth elephants, camels, and donkeys.
Yeah, okay. So we have donkeys and elephants and camels.
So the stars became cows, and then they all became different animals.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. All right, keep on. At these, all the cows were alarmed and terrified while they began biting with their teeth, swallowing and striking with their horns. They began also to devour the cows, and behold, all the children of the earth trembled, shook with terror at them, and suddenly fled away. All right, that's the end of my chapter. All right, 87. Again I perceived them, when they began to strike and to swallow each other, and the earth cried out. Then I raised my eyes a second time towards heaven, and saw in a vision that, behold, there came forth from heaven, as it were, the likeness of white men. One came forth from thence, and 3 with him. Wonder why it says white men. What would that have to do with anything? Did you guys say white men?
Yep.
I mean, what other color would we be? I mean, we're talking like brown men or yellow men or something of the sort? All right. Those 3 who came forth last seized me by my hand, and raising me up from the generations of the earth, elevated me to a high station. Then they showed me a lofty tower on the earth, while every hill became diminished, and they said, remain here, until you perceive what shall come upon those elephants, camels, and donkeys, and upon the stars, and upon all the cows. Yes, it doesn't say donkeys. Okay, then I looked at that one of the 4 who came forth first. He seized the first star which fell down from heaven. So is this a cow or something, or what?
I think
so.
they're relating to the angels. I think this is what he's talking to. The angels mating with men and women.
Is it because that's what I was wondering? Why did they have like donkeys and stuff? I mean,
And
that
that's
would
what
be.
I was wondering about the elephants, because the elephants were bigger.
Well, here it
Than all
says
the other ones.
before they impregnated the cows, and I think this is the stars that came down from heaven and became humans.
So if there was such a thing as dinosaurs, which I don't even know if there were, I think that's still a myth or hoax we had. If there were dinosaurs, I think it was because the fallen angel things had been mating with the women, and eventually they had. It said they violated the animals as well. So I think they brought forth all sorts of great evil. All right, that's just a thought. I have no idea if that's real. Okay. Then I looked at that one of the 4 who came forth first. He seized the first star which fell down from heaven, and binding it hand and foot, he cast it into a valley, very narrow, deep, stupendous, and gloomy. Okay, so we know the story.
Yep.
Who is this?
Aziel.
Aziel, yeah. Then
Azazel.
Azazel. Then one of them drew his sword and gave it to the elephants, camels, and donkeys, who began to strike each other, and the whole earth shook on account of them.
Yep. So
Okay,
this
so
is your
this hasn't.
Nephilim.
This is just about to happen to them, right? Because this is not for us. I mean, this is back in the days. This is what already happened. And when I looked into the vision, behold, one of those 4 angels who came forth, hurled from heaven, collected together, and took all the great stars, whose form partly resembles that of horses, and binding them all hand and foot, cast them into the cavities of the earth.
The abyss of the earth.
Okay, so I think this has come and gone for us. But for them, this was going to be in the future, right? So this is future for them, past for us. All right. Then one of those 4 went into the white cows and taught them a mystery. While the cow was trembling, it was born and became a man and fabricated for himself a large ship. In this he dwelt, and 3 cows dwelt with him in that ship, which covered them. Yah's dreams are a little weird sometimes, because we know this story as well, right? We know about the ship. We know the 3 cows that dwelled with him, but it was his sons. Okay? And Noah's sons. This is who we're talking about. If you guys haven't figured this out, he's basically speaking about Noah. And so Noah hasn't even been born yet, I don't think. Again, I lifted up my eyes towards heaven and saw a lofty roof. Above it were 7 cataracts, which poured forth on a certain village much water. Okay, so we know this story as well, right? So we know that heaven opened up, and so the fountains of the deep opened up, and as well as the fountains of the Shamaim, and dumped water. Again I looked, and behold, there were fountains open on the earth in that large village. The water began to boil up, and rose over the earth, so that the village was not seen, while its whole soil was covered with water. Much water was over it, darkness and clouds. Then I surveyed the height of this water, and it was elevated above the village. It flowed over the village and stood higher than the earth. Then all the cows which were collected there, while I looked on them, were drowned, swallowed up, and destroyed by the water. But the ship floated above it, All the cows, the elephants, the camels, and the donkeys were drowned on the earth, and all cattle. Nor could I perceive them. Neither were they able to get out, but perished and sunk into the deep. Again, I looked in the vision until those cataracts from the lofty roof were removed, and the fountains of the earth became equalized, while other depths were opened. Again, this destroys the round earth, this entire round earth stuff. I mean, it basically says there's a drain on our earth that basically sucked all the water in as well as pushed all the water out. Okay, verse 10. Into which the water began to descend until the dry ground appeared. The ship remained on the earth. The darkness receded and it became light. Then the white cow, which became a man, went out of the ship, and the 3 cows with him. One of the 3 cows was white, resembling that cow. One of them was red as blood, and one of them was black. All the white cows left them. And the white cows left them. Okay, I think this is talking about probably how the giants came to earth, right? How did we end up with giants after the flood? Mm-hmm. So one of the cow was red as blood. I don't know if that's a good deal at all. I don't know.
So of his 3 kids.
So I'm guessing the red blood's probably
Ham.
Black was probably Japheth, and white was probably Shem.
Yeah, that's probably Shem. All right, that's probably a good guess. I don't know. Then began wild beasts and birds to bring forth. Of all these, the different kinds assembled together: lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, wild boars, foxes, rabbits, and the hanzer, the sisset, the avist, the kites, the funkus, and ravens. Then the white cow was born in the midst of them. Did you guys say funkus?
No.
PH funkus?
Which one's that after? There's like a lot of names.
Should I just say all the...
Yeah, what do you have in yours?
Lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, swine, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, and ravens.
Wait, where's your say swine at? What's after
Mine
rabbits?
says pigs.
After rabbits?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't have
Squirrels.
rabbits.
It would be squirrels, but I know it says rabbits.
Yours says
here.
squirrels.
Squirrels.
So the hanzer is a pig?
Guess so.
Okay, then it says the sisset,
Falcons,
Hawks.
the avist,
vultures,
kites,
kites,
funkus.
eagles,
Eagles are funkus.
and ravens.
Oh, that's funky funkus.
Wait, do you not have anything after fungus?
The hamsters. The
And
pig.
ravens.
and
Funkus and
ravens.
ravens. All right, Nicole, continue yourself, please. All right, then the white cow was born in the midst of them, and they began to bite each other. When the white cow was born in the midst of them, brought forth a wild donkey and a wild cow at the same time, and many wild donkeys. And it doesn't say donkeys, folks. So then the white cow, which was born, brought forth a black wild sow and a white sheep. Okay, a black wild sow is a pig.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Wild boar.
This is yours, right? Wow, what's going on here? So this is like the destruction of the human DNA again or something.
Yeah. So
Maybe
this
pigs.
was the white one. So who was the bad kid of Noah's?
Ham. He's the reason we have all the giants.
And he's the
Yeah.
one that departed from them, and he created all this again.
He's
So
the
he-
one who looked at his dad naked and was laughing at him.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Not so good. He
Loser.
broke commandments. Yeah. All right. That wild sow also brought forth many swine. All right. Did I miss something here? Oh yeah. That wild sow also brought forth many swine. Ooh. And that sheep brought forth 12 sheep. Okay. So the wild sow. So this is a bad thing, right? That wild sow, whoever the wild sow is, brought forth many swine, right?
Mine says many boars.
Right. It's a pig. That's a
Right,
giant,
okay.
giant pig. It's like a pig on steroids.
Right.
Okay, so I think
It is.
we're now on like Joseph or something.
What do you mean,
Or
Joseph?
yeah, 12 tribes of Israel.
What are you talking about?
Read the next little part.
Okay.
And the sheep brought forth 12 sheep.
Right, and the sheep brought forth 12 sheep. Okay. When those 12 sheep grew up, they delivered one of them to the donkeys.
That was
Uh-huh.
Joseph
That's
to
Joseph.
Right.
the Egyptians.
Okay. Again, those donkeys delivered that sheep to the wolves, and he grew up in the midst of them. Then
So
Yah.
the wolves are the Mitzrayite.
Yeah, and the Ishmaelites are the ones that
The donkeys.
sheep. Yeah, the donkeys.
So when you guys have these crazy, crazy dreams, they're probably not as crazy as you think. There's probably something to them.
I saw a bunch of cows, and they all got into this boat, and they all came out.
The sows, the pigs were born out of the cows. I didn't know what to think. I thought I ate bad pizza. All right. Where are we at here?
I don't know.
And Adonai brought the 11 sheep to live. That's where I'm at. So,
And he
talking
grew
about
up in the midst of
wolves.
them. Then Yahuwah brought the 11 sheep that they, 24 in this one, they might dwell and feed with them in the midst of the wolves. They multiplied, and there was abundance of pasture for them. But the wolves began to frighten and oppress them while they destroyed their young ones. Yeah, that's what the Mitzrayites did. They killed all the
Yeah,
babies.
so my thing, I found a different website because my last one out, and it has like different names to each chapter. The first one is the delusion, the deliverance of Noah, and this one's from the death of Noah to the Exodus.
Oh, great. That'd be nice to have here. Okay, that's good. And they left their young in torrents of deep water. Now the sheep began to cry out on account of their young, and fled for refuge to their Adonai. One, however, which was saved, escaped and went away with the wild donkeys. I beheld the sheep moaning, crying, and petitioning their Adonai with all their might, until Yahuwah of the sheep descended at their voice from lofty habitation, went to them and inspected them. He called to that sheep which had secretly stolen away from the wolves, and told him to make the wolves understand that they were not to touch the sheep.
That's talking about Noah.
Moses.
Or Moses. Sorry.
Moses,
yes.
Okay. Then that sheep went to the wolves with the word of Yahuwah, when another met him and proceeded with him. Is that Aaron? Both of them together entered the dwelling of the wolves,
Yep.
and conversing with them made them to understand that henceforward they were not to touch the sheep. Afterward I perceived the wolves greatly prevailing over the sheep with their whole force. The sheep cried out, and their Adonai came to them. He began to strike the wolves, who commenced a grievous lamentation, but the sheep were silent, nor from that time did they cry out. I then looked at them until they departed from the wolves. The eyes of the wolves were blind, who went out and followed them with all their might, but Yahuwah of the sheep proceeded with them and conducted them. Now, if you didn't know the story that we actually know, and this was in the future, and then this happened, this would blow your mind.
Makes sense why he calls them lost sheep of Israel.
Yeah, lost sheep of Israel, for sure. All right, all his sheep followed him. His countenance terrific and splendid and glorious was his aspect. Yet the wolves began to follow the sheep, until they overtook them in a certain lake of water. Then that lake became divided, and the water standing up on both sides before their face. And while their Adonai was conducting them, he placed himself between them and the wolves. The wolves, however, perceived not the sheep, but went into the midst of the lake, following them and running after them into the lake of water. But when they saw Yahuwah of the sheep, they turned to fly from before his face. I wonder if Yah showed himself right before he killed them all, or something in that water, or did something. Then the water of the lake returned, and that suddenly, according to its nature, it became full, and was raised up until it's covered the wolves. And I saw that all of them which had followed the sheep perished and were drowned.
So now mine's the next section, Israel in the desert, the giving of the law, and the entrance into Palestine.
Nice. All right. But the sheep passed over this water, proceeding to a wilderness, which was without both water and grass, and they began to open their eyes and to see. Then I beheld Yahuwah of the sheep inspecting them, and giving them water and grass. The sheep was proceeding and conducting them. And when he had ascended the top of the lofty rock, Yahuwah of the sheep sent him to them. Afterwards I perceived their Adonai standing before them, with an aspect terrific and severe. Wow, aspect terrific and
His
severe.
appearance was great and terrible and majestic.
Sometimes I wonder if I've lost my reading ability. All right. And when they all beheld him, they were frightened at his countenance. All of them were alarmed and trembled. They cried out after that sheep and to the other sheep who had been with him, and who was in the midst of them, saying, "We are not able to stand before our Adonai, or to look upon him." Then that sheep who conducted them went away and ascended the top of the rock. When the sheep began to grow blind and to wander from the path which he had shown them, but he knew it not. Their Adonai, however, was moved with great indignation against them, and when that sheep had learned, he descended from the top of the rock, and coming to them, found that there were many, which had become blind. And he wandered from his path. As soon as they beheld him, they feared and trembled at his presence, and became desirous of returning to their fold. Then that sheep, taking with him other sheep, went to those who had wandered, and afterwards began to kill them. They were terrified at his countenance. Then he caused those which had wandered to return, who went back to their fold. See, this is some of these that we understand. It's because it has come to pass. The ones we don't have any clue, that it just seems really odd, it's because it hasn't come. Because, I mean, this makes complete sense. We know exactly the story in another version of it. All right, 60. I likewise saw there in the vision that this sheep became a man, built a house for Yahuwah of the sheep, and made them all stand in the house. I perceived also that the sheep which proceeded to meet this sheep, their conductor, died. I saw too that all the great sheep perished, while smaller ones rose up in their place, entered into a pasture, and approached a river of water. Then that sheep, their conductor, who became a man, was separated from them and died. All the sheep sought after him and cried for him with bitter lamentation. I saw likewise that they ceased to cry after that sheep and passed over the river of water. After that there arose other sheep, all of whom conducted them instead of those who were dead and who had conducted them. Then I saw that the sheep entered into a goodly place and a territory delectable and glorious. I saw also that they became satiated, and that their house was in the midst of a delectable territory, and that sometimes their eyes were open, and that sometimes they were blind, until another sheep arose and conducted them. He brought them all back, and their eyes were open. What do you got?
Mine's now in the new section, from the time of Judges to the building of the temple.
Okay. Then dogs, foxes, and wild boars began to devour them, until another sheep arose, the Adonai of the flock, one of themselves, a ram to conduct them. This ram began to butt on every side those dogs, foxes, and wild boars, until they all perished. With his eyes he saw the ram in the midst of them who had laid aside his glory. Is this David?
I think
so.
I mean, who's the one that came and beat up all these people? Then the dogs and foxes and wild boars began to devour them until another sheep arose. And so it had to be David.
Samson?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. With his eyes he saw the ram in the midst of them who had laid aside his glory. And he began to strike the sheep, treading upon them and behaving himself without dignity. So that can't be him. That can't be David.
So it's Samson.
Then their Adonai sent a sheep to a still different sheep, and raised him up to be a ram. And that's Saul. It was Saul. The first one was Saul. And this is David. And raised him up to be a ram, and to conduct them instead of the sheep who had laid aside his glory. Going therefore to him and conversing with him alone, he raised up that ram and made him a prince and leader of the flock, all the time that the dogs troubled the sheep. The first ram paid respect to this latter ram. Then the latter ram arose and fled away from before his face. And I saw that those dogs caused the first ram to fall. But the latter ram arose and conducted the smaller sheep. That ram likewise begat many sheep and died. Then there was a smaller sheep, a ram, instead of him, which became a prince and leader conducting the flock. I think this was Solomon. And the sheep increased in size and multiplied. And all the dogs, foxes, and wild boars feared and fled away from him. That ram also struck and killed all the wild beasts, so they could not again prevail in the midst of the sheep, nor at any time ever snatch them away. And that house was made large and wide, a lofty tower being built upon it by the sheep, for Yahuwah of the sheep. Yeah, this is definitely Solomon. The house was low, but the tower was elevated and very high. Then Yahuwah of the sheep stood upon that tower and caused a full table to approach before him.
Mine's in a new section, the two kings of Israel and Judah to the destruction of Jerusalem.
Again I saw that those sheep wandered and went various ways, forsaking that their house, and that their Adonai called to some among them whom he sent to them. But these the sheep began to kill. And when one of them was saved from slaughter, he leaped and cried out against those who were desirous of killing him. But Yahuwah of the sheep delivered him from their hands and made him ascend to them and remain with him. He sent also many others to them to testify, and with lamentations to exclaim against them. And again I saw, when some of them forsook the house of their Adonai and his tower, wandering all sides and growing blind. I saw that Yahuwah of the sheep made a great slaughter among them in their pasture, until they cried out to him in consequence of that slaughter. Then he departed from the place, and left them in the power of lions, tigers, wolves, and the hyenas, and in the power of foxes and of every beast. And the wild beasts began to tear them. I saw too that he forsook the house of their fathers and their tower, giving them all into the power of lions to tear and to devour them into the power of every beast. So this is like it could be any one of the kings. I mean, this could be, any one of them after Solomon.
So I think the lions are Babylon.
All right. But he looked on in silence, rejoicing that they were devoured, swallowed up and carried off, and leaving them in the power of every beast for food. He called also 70 shepherds, and resigned to them the sheep, that they might overlook them. Now, who's the 70 shepherds?
Was there 70 kings of Israel in that time?
I don't know. There's 70 something. I mean, we should probably know this. I don't know why we don't. Saying to them and to their associates, every one of you henceforward overlook the sheep, and whatsoever I command you do, and I will deliver them to you numbered. I will tell you which of them shall be slain. These destroy, and he delivered the sheep to them. Then he called to another and said, understand and watch everything which the shepherds shall do to these sheep, for many more of them shall perish than I have commanded. Of every excess, Eli, what do you have?
Did they like go into exile 70 times? And maybe like each shepherd's like one of the people who like exiled.
No, but they had 70 years. I mean, they had 70 years, right?
Yeah.
On one of their takings in, I think. All right. Of every excess and slaughter which the shepherd shall commit, there shall be an account as how many may have perished by my command, and how many they may have destroyed of their own heads. Of all the destruction by each of the shepherds, there shall be an account. And according to the number, I will cause a recital to be made before me. How many they have destroyed of their own heads, and how many they have delivered up to destruction, that I may have a testimony against them, that I may know all their proceedings, and that, delivering to them, I may see what they will do, whether they will act as I have commanded them or not. However, they shall be ignorant, neither shall you make any explanation to them, neither shall you reprove them, but there shall be an account of all the destruction done by them in their respective seasons. Then they began to kill and destroy more than it was commanded them. And they left the sheep in the power of the lions, so that very many of them were devoured and swallowed up by lions and tigers, and wild boars preyed upon them. That tower they burnt and overthrew that house. This has got to be like, I don't think we're to Messiah Yahushua yet, but this is like they're burning the temple, I think.
Yeah.
Then I grieved extremely on the account of the tower, and because the house of the sheep was overthrown. Neither was I afterwards able to perceive whether they again entered that house. The shepherds likewise and their associates delivered them to all the wild beasts, that they might devour them, each of them in his season. Each of them in the season, according to his number, was delivered up. Each of them, one with another, was described in a sefer. How many of them, one with another, were destroyed in a sefer? Does anyone have any clue what's going on?
Mine says first period of the angelic rulers from the destruction of Jerusalem to the return from the captivity.
Okay, so yeah, we were kind of on there. All right. More, however, than was ordered, everyone killed and destroyed. Then I began to weep and was greatly indigent on account of the sheep. In like manner also I saw in the vision him who wrote, how he wrote down one, destroyed by the shepherds every day. He ascended, remained, and exhibited each of his Sephirim to Yahuwah of the sheep, all which they had done, and all which each of them had made away with, and all which they had delivered up to destruction. He took the Sefer up in his hands, read it, sealed it, and deposited it. What do you got, Eli?
Now we're in the next second period from the time of Cyrus to that of Alexander the Great.
To Alexander the Great. That is in when? That's AD. I'm pretty sure it's AD. I think Alexander was like, what, 1200s, 1100s? Yeah, we'll look at that. All right, so, and after this I saw shepherds overlooking okay.
He was from 336 BC.
336 BC? Uh-huh. All right. After this I saw shepherds overlooking for 12 hours. And behold, 3 of the sheep departed, arrived, went in, and began building all which was fallen down of that house. But the wild boars hindered them, although they prevailed not.
This is Ezra and Nehemiah.
Ezra and Nehemiah?
They're rebuilding the house.
Oh, all right. And again they began to build as before, and raised up that tower, which was called a lofty tower. And again they began to place before the tower a table, with every impure and unclean kind of bread upon it. All right, so we know where this is going. So I think the part we are uneducated in is like Judges, and because that's where all the kings did this stuff prior to this. Mm-hmm. So we know about this. We know Ezra well. All right. Moreover, also all the sheep were blind and could not see, as were the shepherds likewise, because they built a house, and then at one point, one dude went into it and built a room inside the temple, and he started living in the thing. And Ezra came out and like kicked him out.
To a bad guy, the guy that was...
Yeah, Toba,
yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah. Moreover, also all of the sheep were blind and could not see, as were the shepherds likewise. Thus were they delivered up to the shepherds for a great destruction, who trod them underfoot and devoured them. Yet was their Adonai silent until all the sheep in the field were destroyed. The shepherds and the sheep were all mixed together, but they did not save them from the power of the beasts. Then he who wrote the Sefer ascended, exhibited it, and read it in the residence of Yahuwah of the sheep. He petitioned him for them, and prayed, pointing out every act of the shepherds, and testifying before him against them all. Then taking the Sefer, he deposited it with them, and departed. All right. How long is 90?
90 looks long.
90 looks long. All right. I think we'll call this good, but I think we will take care of our cows and chickens and then come right back to this and finish this up today. So we will get this out and uploaded. Do you guys have anything else on this?
No, I
No.
think.
Yeah, my apologies for my bad reading and for stuff we do not know. A lot of the stuff is kind of foreign to us, and so this is why we're reading it as a family with all of you guys out there, and we appreciate your time that you're doing it.
You had comments you wanted to go over. Do you want to wait till the next one?
I'll wait till the next one because I need to deal with Carla's stuff on that. Our sister Carla. So I will, we'll do that in the next one, and I think that is it. Anyone have anything?
Sorry for our dog breakout, too.
Yeah, sorry for the dog breakout. We just left that in there. It was been even more awkward cutting that out, I think, and working that. So you will hear a little bit of a dog riot, and that's just our life that we deal with. All right, everybody. Much love to everybody out there.
All right, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.